So you don't have any challenges in the business. You may not want to take it, but I've got a solution. Is anybody interested in hearing it? Have them in your life instead. Okay? A little bit tongue-in-cheek there, but we do have a lot of challenges in life, and for me, Kleeneze was the solution. It's not the challenge. I've never had any challenges with it at all. Now, you may not believe that, but hopefully by the end of the training you will, because it's all the attitude and the belief and the excitement. It's about getting excited. Now, you've heard Rob Foster on stage saying, people will say to him, oh, it's okay for you, Rob, to be excited.
And I used to look at life that no matter what went wrong, something good could come of it. For example, there's a wild, completely different example. The other day, somebody flew off the back of a wagon when I was driving down the motorway and whacked the BMW front wing. And I thought, whoa, bloody hell. I thought it hit the screen. The bang was so loud, and there wasn't a mark on the screen. Anyway, when I got to where I was going and I looked, it must have been a piece of tin plate or something. And it literally, like an axe would, it sliced into the front wing. Well, I just thought, oh, Lord. But I'm this person now who thinks, well, whatever, some good might come of this. I might take it into a paint spray shop and get on talking to the lads there and finish up giving them some information on a video and they might join. I just always automatically think like that. Guess what happened? I saw this van driving along saying called Chips Away. It's a franchise to get chips off your car. You know, they come and do touch-ups on your own drive. They bring their equipment with them and little compressors and they just do touch-up stuff. So I phoned this lad up and he come out and cut a long story short, he's in. He's joined. So see, so like the chip on the BMW, you can see things as like, oh, bloody hell, right? But then if you, it's how quick your recovery rate is at, well, there's some good could come of this. If you can instantly do that, it prevents all the negative stuff like Ray was talking earlier. People just go into this mode of like, oh my God, oh, this has happened, oh, the other's happened, right?
Don't get affected by that. If you are affected by that, don't take it out at a meeting. Take it out on your upline a couple of days before and just vent it off if you're that type of person that needs to vent it off. The worst thing that happens is, because you don't see your upline or you're not in touch with them or because they haven't rung you, yeah, you only see them at the up meeting, and the first thing you do is somebody will say, Tony will say, hi, how you doing? And they'll say, oh, I've had a bad week this week and you don't want to hear about it. And then they go on to tell you. They do.
Well, I got banned from driving, and I can remember everything else that had gone wrong in my life up till then. I was trying to put my Kleeneze business together, but life was falling around me. Finished up finding out about a lot more debt that I was in that I didn't even realise I was in, but I won't go down that road. It's too long of a story. But when I came across Kleeneze, I was in 27 grand's worth of debt. I just didn't know which way to turn. I couldn't pay all the payments. What was coming in wouldn't pay. And I finished up with a house that I couldn't finish up paying everything and pay all the payments, and it was a right mess. So look at life, no matter what goes wrong, this is a big thing, but like no matter what goes wrong in your life, there's usually, remember the quote, from every adversity is the seeds of an equal or greater benefit.
We was in a bit of a rush. I had major motivation. It was called debt. A lot of debt. 100 grand, which is never very nice, but hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? We didn't want to have to go bankrupt. I didn't want to have to be walking down the road any day in the future and somebody say, I could do a business because of you. So what was we going to do? We looked around at everything. You name it, we've looked at it, been there, looked at it. And I had two questions for other businesses I looked at. What's your turnover? What's your check? Cut out, can I say bullshit here? Cut out the bullshit. Show me the money. If you can't show me your checks, I'm not interested. The only reason that we got started with this business is quite simply, is because it was the only people, the only company that was prepared to do it. So we got started. Now we was in a bit of a rush because, as I said, 100 grand of debt, major motivation. 2 sheriff officers at the door. Big little fat guy and a big skinny guy. Due to them, I suppose, it put a fear of death into us. So we believed that we saw the results that people was creating. If they can create it, so can we.
We were absolutely flat broke. We got a crisis loan. I'd never heard of a crisis loan. Bob and I worked in direct sales and we wanted to start our own business because he has an illness called Crohn's disease. And in direct sales, if you don't work, you don't get any money at all. I was burnt out. I don't know about anybody who's been involved in the direct sales industry. If you have or they have my sympathy. Absolutely hate it. Absolutely hated it. Totally burnt out. We weren't making any money. But we were wanting a business. We were looking for a conventional business. I realise now with Kleeneze that was a big mistake. Conventional businesses give you ulcer, stress, and you work from morning to night and you don't actually get by. That's what I found. These people are joining Kleeneze today, aren't they? The people who are in a conventional business because they want something a bit more, don't they? But that's what we were looking for, and we were hoping to build that business so that if Bob became ill again, the cheque would keep on coming in. But we got to a stage, we had 2 old bangers, we sold the money, put the money in the bank, and that is what we were going to live on while we did a business plan which kept getting rejected. And we actually got to a stage where we totally ran out of money upon my jewellery, upon colour TVs, upon everything. And you know, these wedding presents that are up the loft that, you know, I was divorced anyway, all these wedding presents that are up the loft, take them round to second-hand shops, and that is how we were surviving. And the day that we joined Kleeneze, the day before we got a crisis loan, I opened the fridge and we had ran out of food. Now, I'm being quite honest with you here. That's embarrassing, right? I'm embarrassed to tell you that I could not look after my children properly. They stayed more with their dad than they stayed with me because he could look after them better, and I ran out of food. But I'm telling you for a reason, because I hope that you will see just exactly what you've got a hold of here. I didn't see it. Right? Not everybody's going to see it right away.
I worked at the shipyards, and most I ever made in a year was £10,000. So I didn't join Kleeneze with loads of money. But what I did see when I joined was the circles. It wasn't on the opportunity video. I'd never been involved in Amway, because Amway use a lot of circles. But basically, I grasped this. A lot of networking companies do draw it out, but sometimes it's worth drawing the circles, because somebody explained that to me, and I seen it like that. Everything just dropped because I seen the circles. Because I knew a lot of people, and I thought, well, if I can find 5, and they can find 4, and then they find 2, you've got a big team.
Finished up on the phone to Alan Moffat one day, who I'd never spoken to for about 8 years, and he says, well, if you want to make some serious money or extra money or whatever, might be able to change your situation or whatever, I've got this thing you might be interested in. I says, all right, well, tell me more. Well, I can't really tell you on the phone. I said, well, what did you got this thing, now you can't tell me about it. He says, well, no, I'll send you some information if you give us your address. Because we'd moved house and he'd moved house, and I says, well, no, I can't. I says, have you moved? Where are you living now then? He says, well, I'm still in Sunderland, but I live at Darien Avenue. I says, well, I'll come and see you now then. I says, are you in now? He said, of course we're bloody in. I says, right, I'll be there in 20 minutes, half an hour, I'll come and see you. And I went to see Alan Moffat that night, which was a Wednesday night, I think. I was Wednesday night. I can tell you the date. It was the 29th of September, 1993. I think it was a Wednesday. And he just showed me the 5 times table, basically. 5. If you introduce a couple of people, 5. And let's say they get a couple of people each, 5. Basically, the 5 times 5 table thing. I says, so what is it then? What do you mean? What would these be selling then, these people? Well, this catalogue. And he just gave me the catalogue. And I'm looking through the catalogue thinking, oh, my mother's got one of them. Oh, my mother's got one of them. God, I could do with exactly one of them. And I just looked through this catalogue from the animal jelly molds, sticks in my mind, because my mother would love them animal jelly molds, I thought, for the grandkids. This is a product 8 years ago. I can't even tell you if we still do it. I can't remember. But animal jelly molds was in. And I thought, my mother would buy them for the grandkids. Oh, my mother would. God, will you need one of them? And I saw myself the catalogue flicking through. And I just thought, well, I would guess it'll sell. He says, well, the company's been going for 70 years. Never in the world. And to bring it up to date where I was at Donald Trump a minute ago, right? He says, well, there's a meeting on Tuesday night, and there's this lad here making this much money. He showed me a Gavin Scott cheque for £5,000. I says, £5,000 a month? Nobody makes £5,000 a month. This is like 8 years ago, right? I says, £5,000 a month? He says, yeah. He says, at this meeting on Tuesday night. So I go along to this meeting expecting to see some tall, dark and handsome like Bobby Ewan or J.R. Ewan, like Dallas person, you know, a Donald Trump person, or some, like, just some person who looked like they earned £5,000 a month. Go to this up meeting, I'm sitting at the back table because the room was like full, and me and Alan Moffat gets there, and I'm sitting on a table at the back, like where Tony is at the back of the room now, right at the back on a table because there was no chairs. And Gavin and Alan says, oh, that's him there, I'll introduce him to him at the end. I says, who, him? And he says, yeah, it's the guy with the ponytail. I was like, yeah. Well, I'm not into long hair. I mean, I can't. You know what I mean? It's virtually see-through. But I don't like long hair. And I thought, ponytail, he makes all that kind of money. I don't know what it was, but I was just expecting some kind of business guy. Some high-powered, you know, executive. Donald Trump, J.R. Ewan, Bobby Ewan type character, and he was for the far end of the spectrum from that. And I mean, I'll say, we're pals, we're best of pals, but I can remember thinking, well, God, has he slept in that suit? It just looks like, this doesn't look like this £5,000 a month. Well, this was good, and it was a major point, really, because I sat at the back of the room thinking, well, if he can make £5 a month out of it, all I need's £1,000. To get out of my job, do you know what I mean, to get out of my work, £1,000 a month would do me. And I'm thinking, well, if he can make £5 a month out of it, yeah, show me what I've got to do. And that was me, in.
So, we went to work. In the first 3 weeks, we made Gold Distributor. And we got a cheque, as you see, that's in Hazel's name there, and it was for £1,453. Now, that wasn't really enough to save my skin, because we had sold everything that there was to sell. The only thing left to go was me, and I didn't fancy that. So that was the first 3 weeks was a major rush. In the first full month, we actually got a cheque for £2,003 or something. Was trying to get a couple of people up to gold. We was working with 3, and we failed miserably. But we still got a cheque for our £2,000, and that would just keep the little fat guy and the big thin guy off my doorstep, you know. Next month in the business, we just continued to work this, what was doing, just kept doing it. Worked harder than we'd worked the month before. And we helped 3 people reach the gold position. And one of them, Alan, had his brother Andy come through as well. And that was fantastic, because they were earning, with 4 folk in the team earning over £1,000, plus we earned 2,600. Now, that was enough to keep the debt at bay. You will be pleased to know that the cheque, as you know, a cheque has gone up slightly. In December, we got a cheque in for $20,199. Now, I was impressed. I'm a fisherman, you know. Day one in the business, I couldn't see that level of income. But now, I can see so much more. See, what you got to do is understand how this business works. You must be prepared to give it time.
Why did it move so fast? Our business did move fast, right? Very, very fast. We turned over £3,500 in our first 3 weeks. We turned over just under £10,000 in our first full month. We finished our first full year with £1 million turnover and 5 front-level gold distributors, 6 within 18 months. That's a lot of gold distributors, and that's more than SED. That's a big cheque. That's a big cheque. Why did it go so fast? Well, I'm going to share that with you. Are you excited about this business and what it can give you? Do you believe you found the gold mine? Imagine you had found the gold mine. Got up early one morning driving down the street, and suddenly in the hill you see something shining, and you go and investigate. There's a gold mine, and you fill your car up. You take it home, you say to the wife, wow, look, empty the car, come on, help me. And then you and the wife go, and you start to dig this gold mine. But all of a sudden, you realise after 10 or 15 trips, this is never ending. This is a never-ending gold mine. Right, so you need people to help you dig it, don't you? So what you got to do, put an advert in the paper? Are you going to put an advert in the paper? Are you going to put flyers out? Are you going to put a shop ad out? Or are you going to share it with your friends and your family? Are you with me? You're going to share it with your friends and family. I was at a sizzle session once, and everybody should know what a sizzle session is now. Somebody said, but I'm frightened that my friends fall out with me if I talk to them about the business. I said, I would fall out with you if you didn't. You've got to speak to everyone you know. And I'm going to tell you something else which would be a bit gutting if it happened. That's the bottom line, folks. Go along to a meeting, feeling happy, had a good day, picked up loads of catalogues, loads of orders, you've just read Attitude is Everything and you're buzzing, and there's your favourite cousin sitting in John Stevens' business, turning over 100,000 a month. How would you feel? You've got to speak to everybody you know.
The reason we say warm list is because you've got a bond with the person before you even start. You put an advert or a flyer out or a car sticker on, you've got to make that bond and become that person's friend. in inverted commas. Build that rapport with them. They don't know you. Where with a friend, if they can't find the code for Kleeneze Special Logs, they can ring you up after 9 o'clock and they won't feel like, oh, can I ring or can I not ring? And they'll ring you up and it'll just be, oh, yeah, you could ring up and just say, hi, are you all right? And they'll just say, yeah, I've done this and this and yeah, and I can't find the code, and you'll be able to give the code over. You've got that rapport. Can you see where I'm coming from? You've got that rapport.
Warm market's the fastest way to go. That's how I went gold the first month. I was telling everybody, you wouldn't believe. There'll be people making a fortune. You just watch. There's this lad up in Newcastle making £5,000 a month. I couldn't believe it. And when I met him, he's got a ponytail. You wouldn't put £5,000 a month in a ponytail together. You would think he'd have to be this guy who works in the city with a slick suit and works 60, 70, 80 hours a week to get that kind of money. You know, you just wouldn't believe it would happen. And yet there's this guy making all that money. And people just totally don't understand that. If you sell the thing with enthusiasm, if you sell it to people that you know and talk to them, then they know you. I used to say to people 8 years ago, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't join, you'll finish up reading about us in the paper. And they'd be like, oh. And guess what now? There's people in all different magazines and newspapers all over the country. But back then, in 1993, when I joined, there wasn't a newspaper article. And then in October 94, Gavin was in a newspaper. I was going around everybody saying, look at that. Didn't I say Kleeneze Pete would finish up in the papers? Isn't that amazing? That's that lad with it. Look. His check's now this. Look at that. And I had one press article. Then Chris Mason Paul was in the Bristol Evening Post. I got a copy of that. Look, there's somebody else. Family down in Bristol. Lynn MacDonald was in the Daily Record in Scotland. I was like, look. Divorced. So you had single lad at the time, Gavin. Single lad. Family in Bristol. Divorced mother up in Scotland, and I was like, look, it's happening, and it's happened for all kinds of people all over the country.
Let me give you a little exercise, okay? Bearing in mind, when we start, sure, you get great results for flyers, you get great results from adverts. When we started the business, we could not afford to place an advert. We could not afford to print a flyer. So we had only one option. We spoke to people we knew. No great friends, but only one. But the rest was kind of acquaintances, you know? Very quickly, just write down 3 people that you know right now. Forget the fact that Kleeneze exists, okay? Forget the fact this business exists. 3 people that you know right now that could use an extra £100 a week. Write their names down as fast as you can. Write down 3 people that you know. It wouldn't be interested in £100 a week, but they would look at an extra £1,000 a month. Just imagine you've got your own little business. It's not Kleeneze. Just think of a business that you would like to have outside Kleeneze, okay? Normal corporate business. You've got that. It's up and running. It pays you £100,000 a year. You have got to go to Australia for 6 months or whatever and leave that business. Bearing in mind it's your income, it pays you £100,000 a year, okay? You've got to get to Australia and leave that business. You need to leave that business in the hands of 3 people. Which 3 people would you leave it in? Write their names down as quick as you can. I'm giving you some real stuff here, stuff that you can put into use tomorrow morning, okay? Quick as you can, 3 people that you would trust. Might be members of your family, might not. Okay? Obviously, folk that you respect a wee bit. So, you should have a wee list of people there. Now we've got a problem. Who will join us? You have no right at all to prejudge anybody. How do you know who will join you in this business? Let me give you a wee gem here. If you can learn to live with the fact that the only thing that you know is that you don't know, you can make a fortune in this business. Okay? The only thing that you know is that you don't know. It's not a science. It doesn't go ABC. It goes here, there, and everywhere. Can't figure it out? I don't need to. But just keep going with the flow, you know? So you've got a list there. Let me tell you something that will happen. In that list, some of the people there will laugh at you. Kleeneze, you're joking. I wouldn't do that, but it was the last business on earth. You phone up some people and you explain it and you say, it's Kleeneze. I think, Kleeneze, I've always wanted to do that. When can I join? Does that happen to you? It doesn't happen to me either. So, some people on your list will laugh at you. Some people will say, it looks good, but it's not for me, but I know somebody else that is looking for something right now. And they will refer somebody else. And 1 or 2 of them will join you. The only problem that we have is we don't know who will do what. The only thing that we know is that we don't know. So therefore, guess what we've got to do? Speak to them all.
Because the business is simply about numbers, isn't it? It's just massive numbers. We don't do anything different to you. We didn't do anything different in that first year. And you might be saying, but you must have done something different to turn over £1 million, to have 5, 6 gold distributors within 18 months. You must have done something different. We didn't. We just done more of it. Does that make sense? It is just numbers. We know what's the thing about this business. We know 9 out of 10 people are going to quit. Sorry for the new people, but don't worry, you still make a lot of money, right? We know that a lot of people are going to quit before they've even took the books out of their kit. We know that most people aren't going to do what it takes. But the only thing that we do know that we're guaranteed, the one thing that we do know rather that we're guaranteed also, that is if we keep on going and speak to enough people, we can have a massive income. And all we have to do is get the numbers right. In Scotland, we are, I don't know what you promote down here, but we promote a minimum of 100 information packs a week. By God, if you've got 100 information packs going out a week, you've got people coming into your business like that. There is always somebody in the pipeline. There's always somebody after the last one that was going to join whose budgie had kittens and couldn't join until after the canary had been buried, right? We know that these people aren't going to join, but we've got them in the pipeline. But your people will join, so it's pure numbers. And all we have to do is have a simple system, which you've obviously got here. No disrespect, but simple is duplicatable, isn't it? Simple means that everybody can do it. Simple means that you can teach it and teach it and teach it all the way down. It's easy to teach. Keep it simple and just keep on repeating.
And you know what the bottom line was as well? Share the idea with a few people, and if they make money, you make money, and the more money they make, the more money you make. Here, I could live with that. I couldn't sell somebody an £800 vacuum cleaner. I'd feel guilty all the way home. I couldn't sell them 7 grand's worth of double glazing, or 12 grand's worth of double glazing, knowing that I'd made 3 grand, and the company made so many grand, and the production cost of the double glazing was like £2,000, and we just took this old lady's eyes out for 12. I couldn't do that. But what I could do was show people how to make money. I thought, that's pretty good, this. The more money they make, the more money I make. The harder I work, the more I make. The core values of this business from day one to me was like, this is amazing. Harder I work, more I make. More people I show to, the more money they make, and the more I help them become successful. More successful they are, more successful. This is good. So from that moment on, I've just had this philosophy that if you help your people make money, they'll never leave you. They'll never leave you.
We need to become a gold distributor. How do you become a gold distributor? You need what? 15 to 20 people. So how do you find 15 people? You sit there and think, oh my God, 15 people is a hell of a lot. I could never do it. Let me show you how you do it. You find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just let's say 6. In fact, we found 7. This guy was going to be super. He was going to pass me next week. He bought 500 catalogues and he never put them out. Just the way it is. So we found probably 5 or 6 people, say, okay? And guess what we're going to do next? Work with them, help them find 1 or 2 each. 1 or 2 or 3 each. How much people have you got? 15 each. You need to understand this word here. Each, okay? You've got to get used to that. It's 15 each people, okay? So you're now at gold. And people say, that's hard. Oh my God, it takes a year to get gold. We did it in 3 weeks. How did we do it? We found 4 or 5 or 6 people, helped them find 1 or 2 each. Simple. See, maybe having no qualifications can be a good thing. You don't have to think about it. People, I take some majorly intelligent people into business, and they analyse their head where they shouldn't, right? They analyse everything that they do. We had a guy, and he was getting great guns. He made bronze executives gunning, and he got up early in the morning, and he sat after lunchtime drawing circles. He analysed everything. He had every flyer, percentage, and everything. He says, John, why do you need this? I says, I ain't got time for that garbage. I'm too busy doing it.
This business is like a rowing boat. And there's a lot of networks out there just like a rowing boat with one oar. All they can do is actually sponsor because no products get moved. But like a rowing boat, if you pull on one oar, your boat goes round in circles. You pull on the other oar, it goes round in circles. What you've got to do is get a big story on 2 sides of this oar to make a rowing boat move really fast. So the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. It's the speed of your story which will drive the business forward. So the faster you can get a story on both sides of this business, you become a magnet for success, where people are actually going to join you in this business. If you're piddling along with a business and you there's a guy that's just come into the business, he got 2 information packs. The other guy followed up and he asked some questions. He says, well, how much money do you make? He says, well, I'm only doing Kleeneze to make a little bit of money, me, really. You think, what an answer. When somebody on the follow-up, you've got to be positive. So the guy says, well, I'm not joining him. I'm going to join somebody who wants to move with it. So be that person who wants to move with the business, because people you'll become a magnet, and people will actually want to join you because you're driving the business forward.
You need to believe in you. That's the first stage. Everybody can fly high, we can all reach the impossible, we can all make the dreams come true, we can turn these dreams, put a date in them, put a time in them and turn it into a goal. But that belief has to be there, and you need to believe in you. But more importantly, you need to believe in your team. Do not prejudge. We took 6 months to kick into gear. Do not prejudge. Repeat the same things over and over again. Tell people what they can achieve. Tell the stories. Tell the stories. Let everybody believe that they can achieve it if they want to, because guess what? They can. And I quite often see people coming into the business and the person has prejudged them because of some negative retort. Might have been, I'm not putting catalogues out, I'm a sales manager, so they might have ignored me. But some negative thing, and suddenly we're thinking, oh my God, this has got to be one of the ones that quit. And we treat them differently. Don't. Treat everybody the same in your team. Let everybody see that you do believe in them, because if they do want to do it, they can. Following on, we need to believe in the industry. Obviously, well, just to help you there, the next one's Kleeneze, obviously, because we're part of the best industry in the world. 90% of people who are involved in network marketing more than 10 years have all achieved their lifetime ambitions. 90%. And yet, with the vehicle that we've got, Kleeneze, the #1, with the Kleeneze distributors, and these are all facts, if you want to write them down, they're good. I picked them up at Birmingham conference from Chris Mason Paul. Kleeneze, not only are we the #1, but distributors in Kleeneze can turn over 5 times more than any other network. We already know that, don't we? Because we're here, and that's why we're here, because Kleeneze can turn over 5 times more than any other network. So you need to believe in your team, the industry. You need to believe in you.
This is the end of side 1. Please fast forward the tape to the end.
Personal development that's helped us so much more in this last 4 years. I've learned so much.
There's one thing about personal development. You don't have to have money to learn it. You can read, you can borrow from the library, so there's no excuse. They can't say, I can't afford a book. So we used to read half hour a day, minimum, sometimes an hour a day, even when we were working the catalogues very hard. We worked very hard on ourselves too.
Personal development is absolutely essential for anybody, and it never stops. I mean, we're still developing ourselves now. As you move through the business, you need to learn more disciplines. You need to understand how things work.
Because this is totally different, you need to wipe your mind and read as much as you can about this industry. Because this is an industry. It isn't a toy, it's an industry. And people, you need to read about it.
And I feel I have to understand the industry that I'm in. Having never been involved in it prior to Kleeneze, I had to get a good knowledge of that. But I also love the personal development books, the books that tell you about people's skills, because we're in a people industry and we need to know how to handle people.
I think it really came home to us when we were on the Australia conference and we spoke to a couple, Alan and Elaine Moffat, and we were talking to them. I said, well, I just listen to tapes. And they said sort of, well, tapes, you've got to do more than just listen to tapes. You've got to read the books, you've got to educate yourself, and using a word, you know, to become the person you want to be, you've got to learn from the people that have done it before.
Personal development is quite a crucial part in my business. I mean, already in the 2 years I've been with Kleeneze, I've changed, and I can only imagine what I'm going to change into if I just keep going on the personal development.
I think it's hard for some people that have never had to read before, when they come into the business, they said, oh no, I'm not a big reader, or I don't listen to anything other than fiction. It is very hard, but once you can encourage them to maybe start just 10 minutes a day, it's very, very important, and I think it's just part and parcel of this business.
I feel that unless you start to grow yourself as a person, you cannot hope to help others grow. And lots of people come into this business with low self-esteem through whatever life has thrown at them in the past, so I feel that it's fundamental.
The first book I read was You Can Do It, actually by a guy called Paul Hanna, who's an Australian motivational speaker, and that was just, it just lit fires. It was so exciting. I thought, this is what I've been missing out on, and I've been reading books ever since.
I think one of the biggest tapes that's made the biggest difference to my life is the Building Your Network Marketing Business by Jim Rohn. He's such a good speaker, but when you also listen to him, he's like, yes, he's normal like you and me.
7 Strategies for Success by Jim Rohn, Richest Man in Babylon by Richard Clayson, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, How to Think Like a Millionaire by I think Charles Poisson. These were our 4 sort of key books that really turned our heads around. Yeah.
Our sponsor loaned me Edward LeBrook, actually. He said, have a read of this, because Kleeneze was a new concept. It was home shopping. I've been in home shopping before, but cataloguing and network marketing was a complete new concept.
The quicker you learn, the quicker you earn. And the more you learn, the more you earn. It's as simple as that. It's a very simple business, and I think that's the difficulty, is that most people try and complicate it.
But people bring their corporate head with them and try to make things complicated and try to over-professionalise everything. Well, you be a professional by doing what's necessary to get the end result. That's what I call professionalism. So basically, leave the corporate world out, take your business acumen and turn it inside out when you start networking. And just do what it takes to be successful and add nothing on in the beginning.
I think the first year in network marketing is very, very important. The Basics by Don Fayer.
I've taken a lot from a lot of people. Jim Rohn, Randy Gage.
I've read the Basics and the Big Picture, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, Jan Rue. But I'm a big tape listener too, and I like listening to tapes in the car.
A lot of networking books, you've got to sort of have a look at them and remember that Kleeneze is completely unique. Because with all of networking companies, most people sell a little and get lots and lots of people into their organisation before they make any money. With Kleeneze, we retail big right from the word go. So its uniqueness means that you run your Kleeneze business a little bit differently. So every book I've read has been a massive asset for the attitude that I have to have, the vision that I have to have, the belief that I have to have. But as far as how I'm going to run my business, I learned that from my mentors in Kleeneze, the Chris Mason Pauls, those sort of people who they were very, very successful and we copied their system.
Having run my own business, I thought that all the knowledge that I had would actually help me tremendously in this business, and I've got to say that it's totally different to anything else out there that you could possibly think of, and you really do have to learn this industry right from the start, and it doesn't matter who you are, you have to learn all about this industry.
The more you learn, the more you'll earn. Stupidly, simply obvious statement, but that stuff on the back table isn't there for sure. It's there to help you build your business. There are a couple of good books you need to get hold of, right? The Basics by Don Fayer. I read that the first night. Look at the state of my book. It's just, I have read and used and taught from this book over the last 8 years. It just falls to pieces. Absolutely falls to pieces. And I went to see Don Fayer about 5 years ago, and it was like this then. And I says, will you sign this book? I says, it's been so valuable. I read it the very first night I joined this business. He says, gee, Rob, I think you need a new one. I says, no, this is important, because the stuff I highlighted that very first night is what I highlighted that night. I still think that most of these same values or things that I highlighted are still so important. All the stuff that I highlighted the first night, right? You need to read that book. If you haven't read it, read it. If you're new, you won't know about it yet. Just read it as fast as you can. I'm not bothered whether you buy it or not. We're not flogging books. Don't think like, oh, he's just trying to push books. People say this. I've had 8 years of it. I don't care. People say, oh, you just hear them promoting books. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Get it from the library. Get it from the library. Borrow it from your sponsor. But please, 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 don't miss this information. Don't miss these words, because it'll have a massive effect on your business if you only understand it. And what's it called? The Basics. What a good place to start. At the Basics. right? Powerful, powerful stuff. This one was already mentioned. Skill with people, Les Giblin. We're in a people business. It makes sense. And some people might think, well, I'm fine now, I don't need to. You know, you do. Everyone does. You'll all learn from this stuff. But even if you think you don't, you need to read it so that you can promote it to the people who do. So don't think you have, because people, I've met them all in 8 years, I promise you. They think they know it all, so they think, oh, no, I don't need to read books. Oh, I've been in sales, I don't need to come to meetings. Like the chap said earlier on, you'll never see them again. If they say they're not going to come to meetings, you might as well say goodbye. You don't need to. If they want to retail for a few months and then dwindle away, let them retail and dwindle away. That's what happens to them. They'll never build a big business. It's the same with this. Unless they get into people skills, they'll never build a big business. So try and teach them gently, all right? It's interesting stuff. Here's another one. The Big Picture in the Fundamentals by Ed Ludbrook. You've got to read this stuff eventually. There's only, you know what I'm trying to say here? There's only about 4 or 5 books that you really need to get hold of. Beyond that, it's optional how much you want to go into things. But you read these first 4 or 5, which I'm telling you are essential, right? Like I say, you don't have to buy them, borrow them from your sponsor, or lend them from a library if you don't want to spend the money on them. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to flog the book, believe you me, I don't care, right? I'm only suggesting for your own good, it's worth reading it. Don't miss the information, whichever way you get it. Don't miss the information, right? The Big Picture, the Fundamentals, the Basics, Skill with People, Fire Up by Jan Rue is absolutely awesome, because you can tell this lady's done it. But again, I'll judge it by how much highlight the pen finishes up on the book. It's all highlighted up. Every other page is like wicked. I write like things in the margin like absolutely mega. Whoa, exactly. Right? It's like this book has been read and read and read and read and read. It's just such good information, every other page. But you know what that led me to? I thought I need to find out about this one. And that's a book that you can read later on. But I tell you what, you know something? All the answers are in there. All the answers. But just read that one first. And why I like books like this, they're dead easy to read. She just writes in like bullet points. Boom, 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 boom. Just one-liners. It's all just bullet point stuff, right? So get the information. Jan Rue's amazing. And then that one, when you've read them basic 5, right? As mentioned earlier on. Personality Plus. Get into understanding people. If you think you understand them, great. You don't understand really then. Right? And you've got to get into this material, right? So the more you learn, the more you'll earn.
How many people in the rooms have ever planted a tree and let it grow from a seed or from a little twig? Quite a few. Well, your Kleeneze business is like growing trees, really. It starts off small. You've got to care for them, look after them, and let them grow. If you put weed kill on, it's just going to die. And some of the comments and things you can patch onto the team are like weed killer. You can actually kill your old business. So if you got anything negative to do, never put it down like, because in our business, negative things kills it. Just look for positive words and things you can actually praise people. But on the left here first, on the other side, no, the other side, just over 10 years ago, I planted a tree. I got a tree kit, and there was about 10 particular varieties of this fir tree came up. 10 years on, I planted that beside the motorway, and it's done very well. It's got to about 2 foot high. The weeds have basically got it. It's just about surviving, and that's where it's got to, basically, because nobody's really looked after it. I thought, that'll be good. I'll plant a tree there. As I'm going back and forwards along the motorways in the years to come, I'll be able to point out a tree that I've planted. Another one I planted in my mum's back garden. Now that tree, every couple of times a week I might go to my mum's. I used to just pop up the garden, make sure there's no weeds around the bottom, water it every now and again, put a bit of fertilizer on it, and that tree's now nearly 16, 17 foot tall. Now that's exactly the same thing with your Kleeneze business. You've got to look after your people. You've got to treat them special, because one negative word or bad word into your team can frighten them off, especially in the early stages when the trees are just growing. That's when they're the most weak. Once they get their roots down deep and they're strong, then your business will go on forever. So treat your business as if it's going to build a massive, massive oak tree, because that's what's going to happen in the future. Because we're only trading in the UK and Southern Ireland at the minute, and the next 5 to 10 years we'll be opening up in every country in Europe. And if you can imagine the income potential for that, it's going to be unlimited. Now, some people are going to take massive advantage of it, and some people will wonder what's actually happened. And some people will put negatives down and kill their own business. So just take that as actually a big tip. Look after your business. Vitamins for the mind. I'm like Tony, I don't like reading books too much. I'd rather listen to the tapes, and that's why we have such a good system. Every month you get an audio tape, but you can buy extra tapes, and the more of them tapes you listen to, the better. But the way I say it, a book a week, a tape a day brings freedom my way. Because you've got to educate yourself on the right stuff. You've got to get that positive stuff in your mind. You're feeding yourself to become better. A couple of books to start with is The Basics and The Big Picture. How many people's read them two books? If you haven't read them, get at the back and read them. Fire Up, I find that book was absolutely fantastic as well. I've talked about it before, but that lady, 3 kids by herself, single parent, became a multi-millionairess in the States, and all the tips in there, how she did it. Now, the way I suggest a good book in them 3 books is because people have read them books and phoned me up because they couldn't sleep with excitement, the information in there. Now, that's the effect them books actually have on you. So very important, them books to get plugged into. Now, it's actually coming up to Christmas, and a lot of firms in the corporate world will give their employees a bottle of wine or a bottle of whiskey, or in the shipyards, we're lucky if we got a turkey for Christmas. That was the honour of working all year. Everybody got this little turkey. What I suggest you do, if you're thinking of like giving your downline a present this Christmas, whether it's going to be a turkey or a bottle of wine or a whiskey, what I suggest you don't, and buy a book or a tape that you can pass on to them. Somebody in your team that's done really well, they'll get much more out of that than they would out of a turkey or a bottle of wine. It's actually showing them the right way to move forward in the future.
If you were studying, if you were a teacher, if you were a lecturer, or if you wanted to go into any sort of occupation that is going to earn you over £50,000 a year, you would have to study, listen to some tapes, and read some books. Right? You were going to have to learn from some people who have done it. You're going to have to be this humble person. And the thing is with Kleeneze, it only costs 65 quid. That's the most discriminating thing, because people don't take it seriously because it's only cost 65 quid. Now, if you think about it, if we had charged them, I don't know, 650,000 or $250,000 for, say, a McDonald's franchise. Well, let's say we charge you $250,000 for a Kleeneze franchise. Would you come to a meeting, even if it was in Inverness? Would you listen to some tape? Would you read this book? Would you change something? No, you'd follow the system. You think, well, I've just remortgaged my house is secured on there, our life is in their control, I'm not going to see a profit until year 2, year 3, year 4, I'll just follow the system that works. Well, that's all you've got to do.
I tell you, in order to come from there to here, we've obviously need to make some changes, okay? You've got to get into, and many people say today, you've got to get into books and the tapes. Okay? It's also important, we are not like another organisation, there is zero profit in them for the distributor. We make our money by helping other people make money, not by selling them books and tapes and putting their bums on seminar seats. Okay, it's an honest business. I'm not much into books, but every time you're in the car, stick a tape on. It's simple, but again, keep a balance. You don't want to become a boring, you don't want to become too boring. You need to get your balance between your music and your knowledge, okay? So then I'll lose the balance.
You've got to be learning all the time. Leaders are readers. That's the bottom line. How can you progress in the business if you don't know the business? How can you learn if you're not living it and reading it and learning about it? And don't forget to educate it. You're learning and you're educating. 2 different things. You're teaching your team.
Become the most positive and enthusiastic person you know. That's a goal that everyone could have. Ray's already mentioned it. Nobody enjoys hearing negative, negative, negative. It's like, oh yeah, oh, hello, and you make a beeline for somebody else. We don't want people, I'm not saying we as in meaning just me. Everyone, we don't want to hear people's moans and groans, do we? What can you do to fix it? We're not a bloody doctor. It's like we're not social. Chris Mason Paul said years ago, and whenever I can remember where I get the quotes from, I recognise the fact of where they come from. Chris Mason Paul said about 4 years ago, we're not social workers. At the time, I kind of caught the comment and thought, some people would never catch that comment until you have half the nation in Kleeneze ringing you with their problems. We're not relate. We're not social workers. We're not money advice counsellors, financial advice. We're not. Neither's Tony. But what happens with people is they think they can just dump all their problems on you because you're so positive, you'll take it all. You can only take so much, honestly. Learn this and take this on board. And as your team gets bigger and bigger, don't catch the ball, right? Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. So absolutely awesome books. That wasn't even around in this country until we went to America, and I picked it up in Books A Million, and I read it, and it was wicked, and I fetched it back, and I walked every Kleeneze meeting I went to. I says, get this book. I don't know where you'll get it from, but get this book. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And then Barry started to stock it. It's even on the Kleeneze price list thing now in their version, right? But I found Don't Sweat the Small Stuff in a bookshop in America years back. It's a wicked book because there's about 100 points in there, and it's all just about a page a point. And there's one called Don't Catch the Ball. And another really important point, choose being kind over being right. It's not always important to be right. Even if you know you're right, it doesn't matter, you know. But you just be kind. Don't slate somebody or put them down because well, I tell you what, I don't know if you can remember, but I told you that ages back. What do you think they're going to feel like? I told you so. It's like, okay, you were right. But you've lost. By insisting on being right, you've lost. Choose being kind. This is a good one-liner. Choose being kind over being right. Right?
Once I'm going to get good at something, and that was what I found with Kleeneze. I was going to get good at it. I was going to get around the books, the tapes, the people it's good, but nobody was going to be negative to put us off. So one thing about attitude and how this works out, if you look at the letters of the alphabet, A is the first letter in the alphabet, T is the 20th, I's the 9th. If you add all them numbers up, it comes to 100%. So your attitude's got to be 100%. Don't let the negative people put you off. Just be focused to make it work.
Imagine this house for sale, right? What I want you to imagine is you're selling your house. So you've got a potential buyer coming along. Would you let them come through the front door and say, just slam that door because it doesn't shut properly, and just walk over this creaky floorboard, and can you see this radiator here? It's propped up on 4 bricks because it's a bit leaky, and the shower doesn't work upstairs, so don't bother about using that. The double glazing, we couldn't afford it everywhere, and this window's really drafty. The shop round the corner is boarded up. The kids hurl abuse, their school kids are all just screaming out, so at lunchtime you've got to shut the windows and everything. What I'm trying to say is, would you show all of them negative points when you're trying to sell your house? Or would you say, it's been a lovely home, it's been a happy home, we've just outgrown it, and there's a convenience store nearby, there's a post box just round the corner, the school's handy if you've got kids, it's just been ideal for us, but we're looking to move on. You would be positive, wouldn't you? Yes. Right. Well, why don't you apply that into the Kleeneze business? Why don't you apply that to your opportunity presentations or when you're in company of other Kleeneze people? Because what generally happens, and what I've discovered in 5 years, is you'd be talking here and you might be saying, oh yeah, Kleeneze's this, and you can have this, and this is what's available. And somebody here will be talking about, complaining about the insect repellent thing, the bulb's out of stock. You know, or icicle lights were out of stock last year, or something that, oh, they should give you snappy bags for included in your... Just little trivial issues. Imagine you're playing football or whatever your sport you're into, badminton. If you can change from this mentality, from being against Kleeneze and scoring a points against Kleeneze, I'm going to ring the service centre and find out why there's no spare badge for my partner in there. You know, if you can change from that and just say, I'm going to work with this, but if you can be on the same side of Kleeneze, you'll absorb anything from your team. So if somebody says such a thing's out of stock, you say, don't worry, I'll get that sorted for you. I don't have the answer, or if you do have the answer, I'll find out and I'll get back to you. They're thinking, oh, you're supposed to be upset and be defensive. They can't handle you being, oh, right, okay then, well, ring me back. They were just wanting to vent that frustration out. And that's what you're there for, that's what you're paid for. We get paid 15 grand every 4 weeks, right? So if somebody loses a catalogue, do you think we go, oh... Or do you think we go, oh, don't worry, you know, it's just like running a business. If you were running any business, you've got to invest back in it. If you were a taxi driver, you would have to put fuel in the car before you could pick any people up. If you were a driving instructor, the same. If you were a teacher, you'd have to buy some books, you'd have to study, you'd have to support yourself for 4 or 5 years and get a grant. The only thing that you have to do is buy some catalogues. Yeah, if you buy some catalogues, you have more shop fronts open, more orders you get, you've turned it around, haven't you? If you can be this person who turns their negative around, you'll be spot on. If you can be this person who's on the same side as Kleeneze rather than against it, you'll make some money.
If you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I don't care. Watch Bambi. Watch the film Bambi. When the little Bambi character person falls over and Thumper says something, and Thumper's mother immediately gets onto Thumper and says, Thumper, if you haven't anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That's a little bunny rabbit to another bunny rabbit. But you must watch the film Bambi. That's where I got that from, Bambi. Right? And don't be one of these people who say, but this, but that, but the other. Don't be that person. People are making money in this business all over the place. You can't deny it. So don't be a person who says, but it'll not work in Hemel Hempstead. But it doesn't work in Milton Keynes. But it doesn't work in South Wales because I live in the countryside. But it doesn't work in the city because there's too many people. I've had it. 8 years of it. Everyone's got a bloody reason why it won't work where they live. And, it might be better in Hull. It might be better in Sheffield. Or it might be better in the North East. Not at all. Not at all, right? Don't be one of them people. Right? They come up with things like it's okay for them. I can remember some time ago, over here, and it's okay for them, yeah. Somebody talking about John and Hazel Stevens. Well, they're our friends. And I heard these people saying, well, it's all right. I think maybe John had been on talking somewhere or whatever. But I just heard somebody at a meeting afterwards talk in the corridor, and I heard something say, it's okay for them because of this, because of that. And I says, you don't know. You don't know what people have gone through. That's unfair for you to even say that. It's okay for them. I know them as friends. They wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't just say, we say this, but it was really like this. I know they lived in that horrible little grotty little cottage where the foot went through the floor. I was at John Stevens' house one time, a few years into the business when he moved into the bungalow, and he opened his kitchen cupboard to show me all the ketchup. Loads of ketchup. He says, we'll never run out again. Because he says, I've been there when the kids wanted ketchup for their tea and we didn't have the money to buy ketchup. Well, I know what that's like. Our cupboards are full. There could be a war. We'd survive for a while. Our cupboards are full of food. I've had no food. Our cupboards are full of food. We have that cupboard full and the cupboard underneath full, and all the tins are in rows, because I'm like that. They've got to have the labels the right way around in lines. Right? I don't know. Can't work it out. Right? But I'll never run out of food because we've had no food. Me and that little fella you heard earlier, I've had no food. When we first got together and we moved, when I had to get rid of the house and we moved, we was looking at a flat above a betting shop on Cheetham Hill Road in Manchester. A flat above a betting shop. Grotty, horrible iron stairs up the back of the shop, and this little 2-bedroom flat. That's where we was looking at to try and get somewhere to live. That's only 5 years ago. I was 3 years into Kleeneze. It was coming together, but my debts was higher. My debts was bigger. We had no money. When we first got the place together, we didn't have any knives and forks or plates or anything. I left everything. I just had to leave everything. I left it all. Right? We would go to the chippy and just have chips and peas. We had lots of chips and peas. Or in the house, we'd just buy taties and we'd have chips and beans and bread. We didn't go out, but yet we've had people in our team moan that they've got no money. And then the next breath they're saying, we had a lovely Italian meal on Saturday with Malcolm and Joyce. What a lovely place Luciano's is, or what a lovely place Toscanini's is. Well, I know that in Toscanini's, for 4 people, or for 2 people, it'd be 50, 60 quid. I'm thinking, you can't have no money. You don't know what no money is. No money's chips and peas. No money's chips and peas at the chippy with a plastic fork, because you don't have forks at home. That's where we were 5 years ago when we got together. No money at all. So it's unfair for people to say it's okay for them, right? But this is where I was from. That's a letter from the bailiffs, Regional Collection Services, certified bailiffs, right? I just couldn't pay the £327. That was like a poll tax type bill thing, right? Right, look at this down here. The enforcement officer on the van is not permitted to accept cheques unless bank... Right, this is where I was from. That's me. That's my address. This is just not very long back, 1995. I'd been in Kleeneze since 1993. Kleeneze was coming together, but I was in such an amount of mess that everything else was falling apart. That was one. There's where they took the car back off me. You know when you hear some people say, I've lost a few catalogues. You want to lose a Jag? Right. I just think to myself, right? Mentally, you can't say this. You can't say this to people, but mentally I'm thinking, go and lose a lovely burgundy, winey-coloured Jag and then come back and tell me. We're talking about 3 catalogues here, right? Again, Ray's already covered it. It's just like a driving instructor. I've used a whole bloody tank of petrol this week. I've gone through all my petrol. It's that stupid, isn't it? Taxi driver around here, there's millions of them. I can't carry on this taxi game. I've lost a whole bloody tank of petrol. All my petrol has gone. I've lost my petrol. Do you know what? We're all laughing about it, but it's that stupid, isn't it? So you've lost a couple of catalogues. So what? Your catalogues, like Ray said earlier, your catalogues are the fuel that drives the car. Just like petrol in a taxi driver. Petrol in a driving instructor. They can go make 15, 20 quid an hour teaching driving lessons if they put some petrol in their car. Same deal with us with our catalogues, right? So, this is what it was like to lose a Jag. There's me. Right, there's me. Robert Foster. It's adjudged against the plaintiff to recover against the defendant the following goods, wrongly kept by the defendant. Wasn't wrongly kept, I just couldn't pay for it, that's all, because everything had gone wrong. It was the shiniest Jag around, but they still took it back off me. I looked after it. This is one thing as well, I say it, I know it all the time. I respect every single thing we have, all the time. I've learned this, guys. Stop blaming the world. Take responsibility for your own situation.
When you join Kleeneze, you know, people say that there's no targets or anything like that. You know, what you want to do, you can do. What you want to get out of it, you can get out of it. But in our 7.5 years, truthfully, to play this game and to maximise your potential and your the earnings that you can earn, it is goals and targets. It's about setting goals and hitting targets. It's your goals and your targets. Don't have to be pressed on you by it's what you want or whatever.
What do you think I think when it's took me from 27 grand in debt, blacksmith in the shipyard type job, in and out jobs, hating my job. When I came into Kleeneze, I had nothing but the debt. I had to get rid of my house at the time. I just had a little council house that I tried to buy and it had to go back because there was 12 grand equity in it. And I thought if I get rid of the house, 12 grand will write off some of the 27. That'll get me on my way, right? I had 8 county court judgments. 8. If you haven't had one of them, get one, you'll build a business. Right? Get one of them. People say, what's the secret? What's the secret of building this business? It's going to get a couple of county court judgments and a car took off you, right? But that's where I was. So I'm this person who knows how I've got through that. I'm this person who's come through it and out the other side.
Kleeneze gives you money, gives you friends, gives you a social life, gives you fun, gives you houses, gives you cars, gives your kids a better future, gives you a pension, gives you anything that you want it to give. Kleeneze is just a vehicle and you can have anything you want from Kleeneze.
Who would like to win the lottery? Everybody should stick a hand up. Come on. Well, in Kleeneze, to be a millionaire, have a millionaire's lifestyle, all you need is 5 gold distributors. Anybody at that level of SED, apart from all the new incentives you're going to get, your income will be about £5,000 a month. Now, if you've got £1 million in the bank, and this was actually done when interest rates were 6.5%, it's dropped back the interest rates a little bit, but that'll give you an income of about £5,000 a month passively. So once you hit that level, because you won't be putting out you won't be doing it all by catalogues. You cannot make £5,000 a month by just putting out catalogues. And if you take ill, nobody's going to put the catalogues out for you. But what you've got to do is get to a stage where you're SED, 5 gold distributors wide, and then you can get that income for your rest of your life. And it can just carry on as you build and develop your team. Now, that's really exciting because where we're coming into now is like a recession, big time. And there's people who would never look at an opportunity because they thought they were set for life. All of a sudden, they're going to lose their jobs. I met up with a printer that actually does our opportunity brochures up in Newcastle, and there's a firm just gone bust on him and it owes them £48,000. Now, this is what's happened. Once the recession kicks in, one firm goes down, takes another firm down, takes another firm down, and all these people who had secure jobs and thought they were set are now going to look for something else. So it's our job, if you want to go and create yourself a lifestyle, because it's there for anybody who actually goes and does it.
We're totally focused on a huge, huge goal, and basically nothing else can come into the blinkers are on, nothing else is allowed to interfere. You might not want to live like that, but let me tell you, if you're aiming for the huge goals, it is available to us. And I count myself privileged to be allowed just to go for these kind of things, you know. I'm a fisherman for Peterhead. No O-levels, can't spell to save my life, but I didn't give a damn now, you know. I used to worry about it, but no. This is what I used to do. This is a photo of me coming home from my work one day. Now, some of you might have seen that before, but let me tell you, that wasn't fun. A guy says, that looks great fun. Aye, maybe for 10 minutes or so, but not for 13 and a half years, you know. What I like to say is, His business has taken me from that boat there to this boat here. Can you see that? Okay. That was us in the Sea Goddess. Let me tell you, it was absolutely wonderful. You saw Jackie's photos during Jackie's talk. That was us sailing into a little island called Meru. Population 100. No cars, no roads. Well, there wouldn't be any roads if there was no cars, would there? Population 100. It was just basically a big barbecue site. That was us. You know, Hazel and Jill Nicholson. You know Jill? Hazel and Jill had floated out in the rings. Was all playing there on the beach as you do with the windsurfers, jet skis, other bits and pieces, snorkeling. And we was all just playing away quite a thing. Free drink Arun and the barbecued lobster, stuff like that. And we heard the boat's horns going. And we looked up, and there was like 5 launches coming in a V shape, and the captain at the front with the Cunard pennant. And they came ashore, and they marched along the beach with their cases, and they went out up to about this level in the water, turned a windsurfer upside down, and for about 2 hours they served us with caviar and champagne off the... Is that living or what? Huh? Is that life or what? Hazel and Jill was floating about in these ring things, you know. And they had floated quite, probably a couple of 100 yards off the beach. 3 times one of the wee waiters swam out to them and filled up their glass of champagne. Let me tell you, this is what dreams are made of. And I couldn't believe that kind of stuff would happen to us, you know.
In the next 3 to 4 years, Kleeneze have projected over £250 million in sales, right? Which means that over £125 million will be paid out in bonuses, right? Do you want a piece of that? Right? Now, the bottom line is the team that you're involved in is half of Kleeneze's turnover. So half of that 125 million, which is £62.5 million, in 1 year will be getting paid out to our team in bonuses. Do you want a piece of that? Yes. It's there. Kleeneze is going to do it. The turnover's going to be there and the money's going to be paid out. And if you don't get it, somebody else will. That's the bottom line. If you don't get a share of that, somebody else will. It is here for the taking. It's just a matter of keeping on, keeping on.
You've got to believe in yourself and believe that you can achieve, that you can go on these conferences, that you can earn X amount of money, whatever it is, but it's your goals and your targets. I'm currently reading a book. It was recommended when I was doing a training in Sheffield. It's about eating raw frogs. Now, even if you're a vegetarian, don't worry about it. You don't have to physically eat them, okay? And it's Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time by Brian Tracy. And I do know Knowledge is King has got it because I bought it for them. But 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done. Now, one of the reasons I bought this book wasn't so much for my procrastination, and as much as I seem to have so much to do and I've got so little time to do it in, I thought, well, I'll try reading this book and see what it is. And basically, it's about time management and getting yourself organised, and it has to be one of the best books that I have read on that subject. And it will help you with your goals and targets because the rules of the game, there's lots of things, and time management is one of them. But one of the things it does say in that book, and I sort of forgot about this, is you've got to learn to think in reverse. For your goals and your targets, you've got to learn to think in reverse. And that's starting with the end in mind and working backwards. You know, and by the end of this presentation, I'm going to, go through the Kleeneze year. Where do you want to be at the end of the year? But you've got to think in reverse. Where do you want to be? What's your goal, your target, and how are you going to get there? Work backwards. And in this book, it actually says that people that are successful, even a lot of them do it actually from a young age. They know where they want to be when they're 40. They know where they want to be when they're 50. They know where they want to be when they're 60. They don't know how they're going to do what they're going to do, but they're thinking a way, way ahead. So they're starting with the end and working back to where they currently are.
Someone put me onto this book when I was 19. Right? And you know what's really weird? I wanted a Rolls Royce from being about 7-year-old. I haven't got a Rolls Royce because we've now got money. I've wanted one. It hurts how much I wanted one all my life. I just love the look of the cars. You know something? This might be sad. I had a Bentley for a year, which you know that anyway. But when you've lost a couple of cars and you've had an out, it just seems a joy. But I actually enjoy washing it. I've got a gardener that cuts the grass. We've got a cleaner that cleans the house. But nobody but me touches the car. And I enjoy washing the car. It's almost like a bit of time out, actually, for me. If I had one of these stretch limousines, I'd love a stretch limousine, right? I'd enjoy washing it. I wouldn't give anyone else the job. I'd enjoy washing it. I enjoyed washing my cars over the years, right? But you know how some people love stroking horses and cleaning out horse shit? Right? Because they're horsey people and they love horses. Yeah, fair enough then. They must get the same pleasure from grooming their horse as I do from washing my car. So, whatever. People are different, right? But you know what page in here absolutely stuck in my mind? I'm just trying to find the... You'll know what I'm going to say here, likely, because of the... I can't find... See, I'll just pick this off the back table because mine's lent out to the... Wait, the last in the team, actually. I don't normally lend books out, but I know I'll get it back there. Yeah. That page there, when I was 19... right, stuck in my mind as I read the book. I thought, yeah. Because it says here, cows in the country provide scenic views on our Sunday drives in the Rolls Royce. And I used to think, yeah, I want a Rolls Royce one day. And yeah, I'm not, and this was 19, I'm not going to be a cow. I'm going to be, or a sheep. I'm not going to just follow and do what everyone else does and go down the pub and have no money. I'll be a rhinoceros, because that's what the book talks about. In life, you've got like rare things like rhinoceroses and eagles, and they might be on their own out there, the eagle or the rhinoceros, but they're not like cows and sheep. If a cow sits down, they all sit down. If a sheep wanders off up a steep hill, they're all wandering off up a steep hill. And it says that people are like that. Most people won't do what others don't do, so they just stay together in their little herds down the worker men's club. But they do it in animals. And I can remember thinking, yeah, one day. Well, I bought it last night. That's why I thought, well, I'll incorporate the visit of Tony's meeting, I'll ring a couple of garages, see what's going on, what do, and I've just traded in a Bentley Turbo R, which Kleeneze had provided me, and the BMW that we had. I've just traded the Bentley and the BM in together and got that out. Now, the other car was nice. The Bentley was only 35 grand. The BMW was only 20 when I bought that. It's obviously depreciated a bit since then, but that, to me, 80 grand's worth of motor car is Super League. Even, to me, it's worth more than my mum's street. Right. From where I'm from, right? My mum still lives in our little council house, and it's on a block of 4. Right. There's 2-bedroom ones at the end, 2 4s, and then another 2. Right. And that car's worth more than the entire street. Right. And like we're going tonight because we have to call back via Leeds and drop into this barbecue because we promised we'd be there for the team. They ran it as a little competition that we would definitely be there to sizzle with their people. So we're shooting to Leeds, but then I'm just carrying on from this barbecue, and I'll be at my mum's before she goes to bed. Because I need to show her that. And I was on the phone to my sister last night and in the break, and my sister was at my mum's, and they don't know I'm coming, and I'm itching to say, you wouldn't believe what I bought. But I'm thinking, no, it'll have much more effect visually when I pull about my mum's street, because my mother will be over the moon. She knows since I was a baby. I've got photographs of me like little sitting on the bonnet of these cars. My Auntie Brenda lives near the Rolls Royce factory in Crewe, my mum's sister. They took me there when I was a tiny kid. When we moved house, I found this in the garage, and I'm so pleased I found like this. Oh, there's a Rolls Royce brochure. This is one I had when I wrote to Rolls Royce when I was about 12. I've got a letter saying, "Dear Rob, enclosed are some brochures I know as requested." And this brochure, right, is from like 1977. Yeah, I would be 13. I'd be 12 going on 13. I had that brochure from then, from 1977. I just wanted a car that looked like that inside. I wanted the wood and the leather and the smell and the niceness and the shininess. I love shiny, twinkly, sparkly things. Sad, innit? I don't know, whatever. Some people like blacksmithing work with scars and engineering fumes, right? But that is real, right? The desire inside has been real. I went to the Rolls-Royce Enthusiast Club at Durham Castle, right? There, it's there. I just found all this and I've thrown it out the way. 1981. 1981. Well, I was born in 64. Someone do the maths? I was born in 64 and that was 81. I was 17. Do you know what? Everyone else who was there, they were like blokes, like proper blokes with a pipe and having a look round. And I was 17. I got my mate's mum and dad to drop me off and take me there because I couldn't drive. But I was just looking at all these cars, dreaming and thinking, oh, one day. And I'll work hard. If someone just shows me how, I was this person. I'll work hard.
Now, in the early days, you might be thinking, you put in all that work, all that effort, and you get a little tiny check for 500 quid or £1,000 or something. Okay, and you think, I've done so much more. But let me tell you, if you want to earn 20 grand or whatever your target may be, start putting that effort in. It deserves that kind of income. Does that make sense to you? Because what happens, as time goes by, you get yourself into a situation. If I put in 0 time now, this year we'll earn at least 185,000 without working. If we put in 0 time, the money's huge. At least I think it's huge. We're coming for 100 grand a day. It's quite good, you know. We're getting by okay. Period. But you must understand, see, the secret in this business is do what you're supposed to do daily and be here in 5 years' time. That is it. You probably want to do simple, but that's fact. So, if you want to make this business happen, do you want to make it happen? Yes. Do you want to be in South Africa? Yes. Huh? Do you believe you can be? Seriously? Huh? If it is raining, lushing rain tomorrow morning, who's going to be out there? Because this is how it is. No excuses. No excuses. It doesn't matter what the conditions are. It doesn't matter what personal problems you have. If you want to hit this level of income, you've got to put all these things, like burst tires, get somebody else to do it. You ain't got time. You ain't got time for that, you know. It's total focus, man. You need to discover a thing called, as Tony Robbins says, you need to discover personal power. Do you know what personal power is? Personal power is 3 things. Are you ready to write down? By the way, I'm going to give you a little exercise here. Everybody needs a pen and paper. And that doesn't mean one between 2. Oh, I'm not doing it. My wife will. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, you each need a pen and a paper. If you ain't got it, you can get one for the next year. That's coming in about 10 minutes, okay? I get into some meetings and I see some people saying, well, I'm not taking notes. My wife will. I don't need to take notes. She is. I'll read her notes. Guess what happens, boys? If you read your wife's notes, you start to think like a woman. And we all know 2 women can't stay in the same house, right? So if you don't want a divorce, get your pen and paper as quick as you can. What was you going to write? Sorry. Personal power. Thank you. Forgot ya. Personal power is 3 things. Number one is know what you want. No, let me rephrase that. Know exactly what you want. Okay, key word, exactly. Know exactly what you want. Okay? Number 2 is we need the ability to take action. Quite simple philosophy, isn't it? It's not like rocket science. But I meet so much people that have so much big plans, but forget to take action. As business is about rolling our sleeves up and getting out there. Okay, the ability to take action. Number 3, help others get what they want. This is Robin's stuff. Nothing to do with Kleeneze, but isn't it exactly what we're doing? How do you become successful in this business? By helping other people. Never ever pushing, but always pulling. Always leading by example. Always showing them the next step. Okay, personal power. You must get into that. The secret is, get started. Somebody asked me for advice. A young guy looking, and his hazel said, young people in this room, what a future you've got in front of you. Do you realize in 10, 15 years you can be retired as a millionaire? And just remember, mine's is a vodka. Okay? Can you get 2 people in your group? Can you get 2 people to go? Let me tell you, I was the guy when we started in this business. I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, what happens if nobody wants to join our team? What happens if nobody will buy for your catalogue? Well, Hazel's gone, what happens if they do? Gone means going, by the way. Okay? What happens if they do? We'll never know unless we try, right? Why should they join you? Look at you. You are only a plumber, a joiner, a housewife, a teacher, a whatever you may be. A salesperson. Why should they join you? Let me tell you, see, yes, it's okay for you. I'm just a teacher. I'm just a plumber. I'm just an electrician. Let me tell you what you really are. You're just a human being with massive potential to change your state any time you make a decision and stick to it. 7.5 years ago, £100,000 worth of debt. Today, I owe no one 1 penny. Will they join your team? Well, they joined ours. Look at that. I was on newsletter for period 12 there. As you see, we had 84 gold distributors. Wow! I remember the day one, I'm thinking, can we become a gold distributor? Hey, we've got 84 on the team. Can you become a gold? If we've got 84, of course you can. If we had 6 people doing out 100 grand, and that's less VAT, I'm sure you can do 7,000. Okay? If we had 6 people doing out 100,000, I'm sure you can help 2 people do our 7,000 and get your butt to South Africa. Right? Do you understand me? Am I getting through? What do you need to do this? You need just a load of attitude. And you didn't need to be intelligent, you just need to be excited. But we didn't mean rah-rah, I'm way excited, okay? We mean sensible excited. The key to this business is get excited and stay excited. Get into action and stay in action. And look at the results.
This income, too many people focus on the catalogue side of the business too much, right? This is not about catalogues. The catalogue bit's right. The marketing department take care of that. The stock people take care of that. The warehouse people take care of that. The Amtrak people who deliver the stuff take care of that. That works. You don't need to question that. The retail side of the business works. Do you know what you need to focus on? The fact that we all, you all, me, we can all make a royalty income based on the movement of all these little bits and pieces. Now, if you think about royalty income, most people who make a royalty income would be like, let's say, a singer, Barbara Streisand, or Celine Dion, or Elton John, or George Michael. They make a royalty income because they spend time to do the album, and then it often goes into the marketplace, and they make a royalty income on that for a long, long time. Elvis Presley, there's been more money made since 1977 when he died than there was the years before, because record sales, CD sales worldwide now has got bigger, the market's bigger. HMVs and Virgins and all these different big stores are bigger. Elvis has made more money since he died. It's right, that's royalty income. Jeffrey Archer, and mind he needs it right now, I suppose, but Jeffrey Archer writes books, Barbara Taylor Bradford, Barbara Cartland, or whoever, that J.K. Rowley. They put some material together, and then they get a royalty income for life. But could I write a book? No way. Could I sing like Elvis Presley, or George Michael, or Celine Dion? No way. But this stuff, I can do this. And it attached to it as a royalty income. But you know what else is weird if you think about the potential of this? If you was a Celine Dion person, and you want to sell your CD, who's going to buy Celine Dion CDs? Celine Dion fans, isn't it? So the whole of the UK, it's going to be just a percentage of the UK will buy Celine Dion. A percentage of the UK will buy Elvis Presley. A percentage of the UK will buy Elton John. A percentage of the UK, the children, will buy J.K. Rowley's, what's his name? Harry Potter. Who buys our stuff? Every single house in the country, every single business in the country, every single person walking about in this country right now, even down to the children. Children look through the catalogue and say, Mum, can I have? From the children to the grandparents, they all buy our stuff, and we can develop a royalty income on that. Well, to me, how exciting was that? I couldn't stop talking about it.
We have massive, massive goals and targets for ourselves, obviously involves some of the team for this year. But we know that we have got to be totally and utterly focused to achieve these goals and targets that we have. And they are massive, like they are really, really big, to push us, to drive us, to do whatever it takes to get our goal. We will not, in the next 5-6 months, whatever it is, everything else is going to be secondary to Kleeneze. Everything is going to be secondary to Kleeneze because of our massive goals and focus that we have for what we're going to achieve. We also know that if you take your eye slightly off the ball, get slightly diversified, get, slightly waver, oh, I'll have a night off, or oh, I'll miss that train and I was to this last one, or I didn't really need to do this, or, whatever. We know we will never achieve what we want to achieve when we want to achieve it if we are not totally focused. Coming down in the plane, Saturday morning, you know what it is, brain's half dead, right? Because we're to get up early and come down to fly down here. We get on the plane, we set some more sheets, not a problem. The plane wasn't that particularly busy, it was about half full. When us two guys, who were about last on the plane, come up and they says, excuse me, you're sitting in our sheets, 21 E and F. I says, no, this is 20 E and F. He says, no, it's 21 E and F. Now, I'm usually right, okay? He says, it's 21 E and F. I says, no, this is 20 E and F. And he's looking at the thing thinking, stupid woman. So I get my tickets out, 20 E and F. I was in the right seat, but I wasn't, right? We had slightly didn't quite focus on the thing, and we had sat in 21. But you want to know the amazing thing? The couple that were sitting in front of us, I said, what are you supposed to be in? He says, oh, we're in 19 E and F. They were in 20. And a couple in front were in the wrong seats as well, right? And we were first in the plane. Everybody in front of us had 2 rows, had sat a seat back. Just a slight deviation. We didn't quite focus on the 20. That was a little thing, right? That was just a little thing. But it's the same in this business. Keep your mind sharp and be totally focused.
So did I lose the balance either way? A lot of folk say, a lot of folk are heavily into this balance thing, getting a lifestyle right and all the rest of it, and spending time with the kids. I'm the kind of person, and I guess you got to make your own decision here, is that throw balance out the window. You only got to eat for 5 years. Forget everything. Work extremely hard. I'm getting terrible. I'm going to let you slip sooner or later. Work your butt off for 5 years. Set yourself free. Because now I'm in a situation where it's a privilege to work, you know. I'm excited about tomorrow. How much people's excited about going to their day job tomorrow if you've got him? Huh? Yeah, one, it's shocking, isn't it? How much people's excited about getting up and doing a Kleeneze business? Why? Because you're setting yourself financially free. I reckon 5 good years, it's all it takes. If you're looking for maybe a good 10 grand solid income or whatever. But obviously you can get a lot faster. Europe coming on and all the rest of it.
Business explaining, 2 minutes to finish off. You need to sponsor 15 or 20 people at your level or above. Gold distributor, Tony's already said it. We tell it all the time. 14 to 20 active people. It used to be far more than that, but the catalogue's so good now, the Kleeneze Plus and the Christmas catalogue, it's so good. 15 to 20 people in your business. Decent people, not wasters, not, again, Ray covered it earlier. You don't just want people like lazy people or liars. We don't want the liars. You'll get them, you can't help it. We sponsor anyone, 65 quid, they can join. But if they lie, they lie. If they waste time, they waste time. If they watch television, they waste television. You can't control that. But what you want is 15 or 20 people. Out of that, you'll get a few who are ready to work with you right now. Just work with them, have a decent retail plan. Again, Tony covered it earlier. Be consistent with it, though. 200 catalogues twice a week or something. That's what I did when I joined, 200 catalogues twice a week. Right? Just something as simple as that. Warm list, we've talked about that. Tony covers it so well. That's why I did £10,000 the first month. Bronze executive within 3 months. It went 10, 11, 21. Warm list. And that's all they were doing too. But cards and flyers and adverts and everything, well, that works great as well. You know all this stuff, guys. You don't even need me to tell you this, right? Hand the videos out, shop adverts out, business cards, flyers. Just do enough. People say, how many should I do? However much you can afford is the answer. Don't say like 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000. Depends how fast you want your business to go. And if you can get business cards and drop cards and leaflets printed cheap enough, get them out by the 1,000. Do it as much as you can, right, wherever you can. Right, where should you go? Well, think about it. Schools, colleges, universities, you'll have people trying to better themselves at night classes, won't you? People who are trying to get maybe a promotion at work, but they've got to have this extra qualification. You'll put a card on their car at a university or a school or a welfare community hall on an evening. Go to them type of places. Go to motorway services, then cross over the bridge and go to the other side. Have a cup of tea, do the car park, come back. Do you know what? I had people on the team used to say, oh, I've done Washington services this week. And I used to think, when I go Washington services, I just go that side, over the bridge, that side, and there's a cup of tea, hamburger, that side, that. You could spend all bloody day at the services and you're going to get people from all over the country continually changing. It's like someone saying, oh, I've done the Asda car park this week. Oh, I did Tesco's on Tuesday. Who goes Tesco's on Wednesday then? Thursday? Friday? People say, oh, well, I haven't put any cards or flyers out this week because it rained. Thinking, well, do you not have any multi-storey car parks then? Why don't you go in a multi-storey car park? Why don't you put your hood on and just go and put some leaflets through some doors then? Oh, but the cards get mushy when you put them on a car. Flyers get mushy if you put them out in the rain. Well, shove through some bloody doors then. Isn't it? It's just do it. Just do it. If you do enough of it, you will fly, right? And here's this is an interesting little thing here, right? There's an 11 grand turnover, right? You, with 10 separate people doing £1,000 each. 10 people doing £1,000 plus you doing £1,000 is 11 grand. Right? You'd earn £1,260 on that. A balanced business, 10 wide. Tony mentioned it earlier on. If you've got 8 to 10 people, you'll have some 80-20 rule. Some will work, some will not. But if you try and get 10 active wide, you've got an 11 grand turnover, you've got a £1,200 cheque. Decent money. And everyone's just doing a little bit. But you know what? There are some people who will have an 11 grand turnover like that. There's them doing £1,000, and they've got one leg. One person doing 10. He's got whatever going on. Creates 10 there. He's got nothing else but him. Do you know how much you'd earn on that? £260. Well, on an £11,000 turnover, would you rather have that, 1,260, or that? So when people ask width or depth, it's common sense if you think about it, to get your business going. Then what you might have is 2 of them 10, that one and that one decide they want to copy what you've done. Well, you can lead the way because you've done it, and you can help them do it. So you finish up with a gold distributor there and a gold distributor there. What have you got now? Bronze exec. Have you got your volume outside of the bronze exec business? Yeah, you've got 8 more legs on the side. Guys, it's that simple. This business is that simple, and people just complicate it sometimes. Right? This is what we've got right now. Right? We've got a few people just retailing away there in our personal sales group there, and that plus us equals about 7 to 10 grand. Gold distributor. But we've got 5 legs that we've developed over the last 8 years that now do 235, 195, 100, 61 and 50. So in total, we have a £650,000 turnover. The title's called Silver Premier these days. But isn't that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Just that with some time attached to it? Isn't it? It's no magic secret. It's just that, and then you find the keen ones, and they become them. The less keen ones, or people who just want a bit of pocket money, and that's fine if that's all they want, become them, and that's all we have. That's what we have today, right? Where people are always looking for this magic formula.
How much do you want? How much do you want? Huh? And you know how much you can get? Only thing you set a true goal on. One key thing on goals is review daily. How do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. How do you earn 20 grand a month, 30, 40, 50, whatever your target may be? Huh? You break it down into yearly goals. You break it down into monthly goals. You break it down into weekly goals. You break it down into daily goals. And at the end of each day, you analyze, you review your day. Look at it. What have I done? What have I not done today? Make sure you fit it in tomorrow. Okay? And that is how you become a big achiever. It's so simple. As Hazel said, think in reverse, work back. That's all you got to do. Is work back and you can hit anything that you want.
Persistency and consistency is one of the keys that all achievers have. Not to be persistent and consistent for 1 week, or 1 month, or 1 year. It's being persistent and consistent, period, till you reach your goal. Whatever your goal is. You might just be happy with being, gold distributor or a bronze distributor, whatever. If that's your goal, fantastic. But if you want more than that, you've got to be persistent. It could just be 10%, as Dave said earlier on. It's important. I mean, when you've been in the business quite a while, you think, well, 10%. But it's true what Dave said. 10% is an important step for new people. It's like them going gold, perhaps. So persistency and consistency is a vital key to this business. If you want what it delivers, and there's so many testimonies, not just in our organisation, but in Kleeneze as a whole, of people earning a lot of money and a great lifestyle. Never, ever give up. Never give up. That's what champions do. That's what leaders do. That's what people do who have earned a lot of money in this industry. They never give up. There's a lot of rejection, of course there is. But hey, whatever you do in life, there's rejection. If you work for somebody else, a boss, you're going every day helping them reach their goals. How does that make you feel? Yeah, for those of you still working full-time? You're helping them reach their goals. Think about it. The only ways you've got to help yourself and your family reach your goals is to have your own business. And that's the Kleeneze business. Yes, you can have a conventional business. I still own a conventional business. I don't do much with it now. But that hasn't really helped me reach my goals. It gave me a lifestyle, and it gave me good income years ago, but it never gave me the time that this business delivered to myself, Kate, and obviously our lovely little boy. So never give up.
But when you're totally focused, you will not deviate. It doesn't matter what the results are, whether they be good or whether they be bad. If you're totally focused and you know what you're going on, you will do it consistently and persistently. And over time, it does work out. It does. We've been in 7.5 years. So some people, even in a retail, need to work on their consistentness and their persistentness. And the reason I've put ness at the end was just, I was a wee bit homesick, so it's the end of Loch Ness. I didn't get it often, can you tell? Persistent and consistent, okay? You never know it all. Some people get into this business and they reach gold distributor and they think they have made it. They reach bronze distributor, get higher and higher and higher, and they think they know everything about this business. We never, ever have stopped learning, ever.
Are you working on yourself? What do I mean by working on yourself? Are you reading books? Are you listening to tapes? You see, people who read know people who don't read. You can tell by the conversations you have. Isn't that correct? You can tell. Are you reading? There's a phenomenal range of books. The David Barber series, these are absolutely superb. If you read the Star Leadership Program and you hadn't read these earlier, I think there are 5 each. Superb books. Another one. This was actually borrowed to us a couple of weeks ago. We're going to buy one today, but we've read it. From Jane Allenville. We're in Blackpool. Kate had some books. She read them all. She wanted another book. And what tends to happen, I prefer tapes. So in the car, Kate reads and I listen. Yeah? So we've got the tape and... Right. And I do read them as well, to be fair. It gets in, it sinks in deeper than. Okay. Attitude is everything. Attitude is everything. If you haven't read this book, please do read it. I'm not here to promote books at the back. Really, we've got nothing to do with Knowledge is King. We've got no financial interests. It's a separate entity altogether. But they're superb. You need these books. To, positive in, positive out. Negative in, negative out. Again, people who read know people who don't read. So if you're not reading, don't speak. Okay. Please do read. It will really help with your business. And what it also helps you do as well, do you warm to people? It will help you warm to people as well. This is a business where people come out of the rat race. People are fed up with their full-time jobs. People are fed up with the boss hammering them all the time on the head. What have you done now? They don't want that. Do you warm to people? Do you make people feel comfortable? That's what you've got to do. You've got to make people feel comfortable. Be genuine with people. It's their business. Help them. If they don't want it, that's fine. But help, develop yourself. I'm always developing. I don't know it all. I'm always reading and learning.
She says, I couldn't help but notice that nobody was taking notes. And I says, I've noticed that 8 years, man. 8 years I've been doing this. Some people just don't take notes. I can't understand that. I can't understand it. I mean, okay, we're only making 200 grand a year out of this thing. But if I went to a Richard Branson seminar or something, or a Donald Trump seminar, and Donald Trump's into property and Richard Branson's into everything, I would want to know what makes Richard Branson tick. Do you know what? The only 2 channels we watch on our telly, Sky News, that's Biography Channel, number 563. It's the only ones I know. Sky News is 501, and Biography 563. Yesterday I watched Giorgio Armani. Nothing to do with clothes, that doesn't bother me or whatever. But I'll tell you what I found in all these people. Donald Trump, Armani, that other one we watched, the other designer guy, Ralph Lauren, Calvin Klein, Heinz Beans guy, the Heinz guy. Do you know what every single one of these people had in common? They always wanted to do what they do right now. Heinz, Mr. Heinz, and Kellogg's, fascinating. Mr. Heinz used to just plant stuff in the garden when he was a kid, 7 or 8 year old, and grow his own little tomatoes and this and the carrots and stuff like that. And he used to make chutney. Can you imagine a little kid, 11, 12 year old, making chutney? It doesn't happen very often, does it? But has anyone heard the name Heinz? Right, and it was the same. Kellogg's, he was into the Kellogg's cornflake thing, and he was into it as a child. Donald Trump, into it as a child. Just fascinated with land moving equipment and bulldozers and buildings and stuff like that. Who's been to New York in Donald Trump's Trump Plaza? I just went, that's the only place I wanted to go. It's the only, when we went to New York on the way back from Australia, Kleeneze paid, it was wicked. All I wanted to do, because I had followed Donald Trump and just thought he was mega, I just wanted to go to Trump Plaza. I wasn't bothered about anything else. I looked at some of the nice jewellery on Fifth Avenue and stuff like that, like wicked, like £23 million for a necklace, $23 million. I thought, that's major league. That's major league. But I just like successful people. And you know what? If I was at a Donald Trump meeting or a Richard Branson meeting or a H.J. Hines or whatever he's called, or Kellogg, which initials they are, I'd be taking notes on why they are where they are, right? So please don't take it the wrong way. I'm not saying you must learn to take notes on me. That's not the issue right now. You either will or you won't. I don't really care. I've learned that in 8 years as well. You learn things as you go. I've given up. You can only give your best, and that's all you can be, right? We're bound to make the odd mistake. But you know what? If you realise that and then take on board that, well, then most people in the audience can think, well, God, if they can do it, maybe I can do it too. But you know what? If you were like totally untouchable and this absolute perfectionist and as handsome as you know, whatever top model, what do you call her? People cannot relate to that. Where when you're ordinary, that's what you need to be in this business. You need to be ordinary for your people to relate to you.
You never know it all. Always taking notes, always listening. Because we're a bit like the golden oldies. We've been in 7.5 years. There's new people, there's changes, there's things happening all the time within a business. You never, ever know it all. And Jeff already spoke about constant and never-ending improvement. Can I? Working on constant and never-ending improvement. In the last 2 years, now, I lose concentration in books and tapes. I read books. I have read 35 books. I just read them, I have studied them. And he says, you know, read what successful people are reading. So I hope you're ready to write down some of the books. Better Time Management by Jacqueline Atkinson. When They Zig You Zag by Simon Reynolds. You Inc. Bert Hedges. Falling Forward, The Basics, How We Did It. This Is Your Life, Not a Dress Rehearsal. Speak for Yourself, The Road Less Travelled and Beyond. A Story About Rio Stackis, Fire Up, The Body Code, A Better Way to Live, International Networking, How to Get What You Want and Want What You Have, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, How to Lead a Winning Group, Questions Are the Answers, The Greatest Miracle in the World, Don't Sweat the It doesn't matter what particular book it is the fact is you are reading the books. You never stop learning.
Why actually promote this lady so much, John Rue? How many people's read a Fire Up book? Quite a few. Well, there's very few networks in the world which I'd promote as good companies. There is some big companies in the world, but if you've listened to some of the Edward Ludbrook stuff now, if you cannot make a profit with the company, then eventually it's going to collapse. And some of the big companies around the world are finding that out now by so much hype and hiding things from people. Eventually people are finding out the truths. But Jan Rue is a multi-millionaire in the States. She's made all her money off a company called Discovery Toys. And her catalogue is about that size, half of our Kleeneze Christmas catalogue. And one of the pages might just be a teddy bear. Yet she's become a multi-millionaire. But one thing I'll say about her company is that the products do go to a customer who wants to buy them. Toy parties. Now, great, her business is brilliant running up to Christmas, but what do you do in January? To sell toys. So you've got to give her respect what she's done, but she's actually done it. She's actually moved product. So that's why our training material is so good, because it's based on people moving product, and that's what we do. I was speaking to John the other day. Kleeneze is so far ahead of the competition anywhere in the world, by miles. We ain't got a competitor, because we move product. I've just sent her a copy of the latest catalogues, just to see how it's even moved on again. But she was saying the other day, Gavin, your marketing plan's brilliant. And I says, John, we've made it even better now. And I was explaining some of the new things she's put in. So it's all down to your attitude, what you're going to do with it.
I've been a bit materialistic today. Cars, houses, parties, travel, everything. Wouldn't it be great if you could work so hard in this business and in a couple of years' time you're able to get into your local children's hospital or sort of causes close to you and say, here you go, it's a cheque for the kids this Christmas, $2 grand, $5. How would that make you feel? Huh? How would that make you feel? See, somebody says to me recently, John, you're so materialistic. And I says, you know something? You are so damn right. I never really said that. I said something else, right? You are so right. But let me tell you why I'm materialistic. I'll tell you why. It's because we have had nothing. We couldn't afford a pint of milk. We couldn't afford to put food on the table. We couldn't afford to feed our kids. And now we'll live like this. You know why? Because we've worked our butts off at a thing. We are very, very materialistic because we've been broke and we're nae going back there. Let me tell you, this side of the fence is a lot better. It's a lot better to arrive at your appointments in style. But to start, we arrived at our appointments in bangers, hid the cars round the corner. You know? When we started with 2 cars, we've always seen 2 cars, combined value about £460. 3 baldy tyres each. No road tax, both of them. No insurance. That's where we was. And you think you've got excuses? Huh? I can think of many, many excuses not to build this business, but I can't think of one good reason. We drove to this petrol station, me and Hazel, and Mike Perry in his car. We filled up the 3 cars and we wrote a rubber cheque. But when the family allowance came in, we went back and paid for the petrol. And that's how we started in this business. It's called commitment. Okay? Now, I understand that there's a lot of people got a lot of fears when you're starting out. But none more than we had. I was terrified at that phone. I was absolutely shaken, scared to lift up that phone. Petrified. But we did it, and we forced ourselves to do it. I suppose it's a bit like the first time you fly. One of the things about this business, isn't it great to take some of your friends in conferences? Especially if they hadn't flown before. This is wee Dougie. Doug's now earning just £3 a month. He used to be a van driver. He joined for 50 quid a week. He'll be SED in period 3. This was his first conference, gone to Madeira. He's going, John, they're putting in the boot. I says, no, Doug, that's the back of the plane. It's not a boot. I'm going, that's the original photo. He was shaking. You can see the vibrations come off a guy. He was terrified. Sitting there, terrified of flying, sitting there like a nervous wreck. What's the first thing they do? They point out the emergency exits. So his palms were starting to leak even more. And this next thing, just in case of emergency, there's oxygen masks that'll fade out. Huh? So Pierre Dougie's getting into a bigger state of nerves. His palms were actually like showers coming out his hands, terrified. In the event of emergency, they point out the doors. And then they show you how to open them. I am convinced, come on, down here, it's a half-wit in the plane yesterday, sitting next to me, was ready to get up and jump, and they showed you how to open the doors. I thought, if this guy opens the door, we're going to be sucked out. Goodbye, £100 a month, you know. So, what do? Sometimes we've just got to put our trust in the pilot, haven't we? Because he doesn't want to die either. So, and it's in his business. Sometimes you've just got to put your trust in your upline. It's the exact same. You will have fears and doubts. Okay, but just trust in your upline. You must trust in your upline. It is achieving the new positions. It's on the conferences. It's going forward and creating growth. Okay, as somebody said earlier, just being upline till you find them. What you need to have in this business is your HND. Your HND. And basically what that is to get to the situation where you have no doubt. This business will work for you. All you've got to do is learn what to do, understand what you need to be doing on a daily basis, get your act together, get out there, and just do it. That's exactly that, folks. There's no more to it.
This is a brilliant business. We need to get excited about it. We need to believe that we are in the best business in the world. We are. Look at the facts. Kleeneze business, Kleeneze distributors turn over 5 times more than any other network marketing company out there. 90% of people who stick network marketing for more than 10 years have all achieved their lifetime ambitions. Right, this is the vehicle. This can do it for you.
No stock, no staff, no premises. You don't have to get a remortgage to start the Kleeneze opportunity. But what you do is have to work. You've got to get focused. You've got to get disciplined. If you want the incomes, if you want the lifestyle, if you want what this business delivers. So what you've got here is a business that you can start for £100 odd, and treat it as if it's £100,000. I think that's the difference, really. If you get involved, people in your team, you've got to have the attitude that you spent £100,000. Work it as if you spent £100,000. I'm 36 years of age. £10,000 every 4 weeks, whether I get out of bed or not. And you see, we're in the position now, not because we're lucky, because we've worked very, very hard. We're in the position now that we can do what we want, when we want, with whoever we want. Isn't that a phenomenal position? You know, we do the business now because we enjoy doing the business. We don't do it because we have to, because we're desperate for money. We're not. We're not. We've just bought ourselves a beautiful 5-bedroom house, furnished the whole house, cash, with Italian furniture from Italy. I flew out there a few times, had it all made to order, and it was all with a lorry driven down. Brilliant. This is what Kleeneze gives you.
Success is... I saw this in Las Vegas and I thought, I've got to have that for the office wall. It's so cool. Right? At age 4, not to pee in your pants. Success is, at age 12, having friends. At age 20, having sex. At age 35, having money. At age 60, having sex. Success is, at age 60, having sex. At age 70, having friends. And at age 80, not peeing your pants.